They call me Inmate 7234F. I'm 48 years old, and I've been in prison for 17 years. I didn't kill anyone. I never held a weapon. I wasn't there when it happened, but I helped my boyfriend hide a body. I lied to the police. I cleaned up blood. I destroyed evidence. And for that, I'm serving 30 years for accessory to murder and conspiracy. When people hear my story, they ask, "How could you do that? How could you help someone commit murder?" And I ask myself the same question every single day. How did I become the kind of person who would help dispose of a body? How did I go from a normal woman with a job and a life to a convicted felon? The answer is simple and terrifying. I lost myself in a relationship. I confused loyalty with complicity. I thought standing by my man meant standing by his crimes. And now I'm here. And I'll be here for at least 13 more years, maybe longer. If you've ever felt like you'd do anything for the person you love, you need to hear this. Because I felt that way too, and it destroyed my life. Let me take you back to 2006. I was 26 years old, working as a dental hygienist in Houston. I had my own apartment, a car, good friends. I was doing fine on my own. Then I met Derek at a bar. He was 32, owned a small construction company. Charming, confident. He made me feel special, protected, important. We started dating. And at first, it was amazing. He'd show up at my work with flowers, take me to nice dinners, tell me I was the most beautiful woman he'd ever met. But slowly, things changed. He didn't like my friends, said they were a bad influence, so I stopped seeing them. He didn't like me going out without him, said it made him worried, so I stayed home. He wanted me to quit my job, said he made enough money for both of us, so I quit. Within a year, I had no job, no friends, no independence, just Derek. And I told myself this was love. This was what it meant to be committed, to put your partner first, to trust them completely. But really, I was disappearing, and I didn't even notice. Derek's business wasn't doing well. He'd borrowed money from a guy named Carlos, his former business partner, $80,000. Said it was for equipment, for expansion. But the business kept struggling. Carlos wanted his money back. Derek kept stalling. They'd argue. Derek would come home angry, punching walls, saying Carlos was threatening him, disrespecting him, trying to ruin him. I'd try to calm him down, tell him it would work out, that he'd figure it out. But the arguments got worse. Derek started talking about Carlos like he was an enemy, like he was dangerous. One night in March 2008, Derek said, "If Carlos keeps pushing me, I'm gonna have to do something about it." I should have asked what he meant. I should have been alarmed. But I wasn't, because by that point, I was so deep in the relationship that Derek's problems were my problems. Derek's anger was justified in my mind. I had stopped thinking for myself. March 14th, 2008. Derek told me he was meeting Carlos at a warehouse to settle things. He said he'd be back by midnight. At 1:30 a.m., my phone rang. Derek. His voice was shaking. "I need you to come here, right now. Don't ask questions. Just come." I should have said no. I should have asked what happened. I should have called the police. But I didn't. Because when the person you love calls you in panic, you go. That's what I told myself. I drove to the warehouse. Derek was outside, pacing. There was blood on his shirt. I said, "What happened? Are you okay?" He said, "Carlos is dead. It was self-defense. He came at me. I didn't mean to. But if we call the cops, they won't believe me. I need your help." I should have called 911 right then. I should have driven away. But I looked at Derek, the man I loved, terrified and covered in blood, and I thought, he needs me. I have to help him. So I went inside. Carlos was on the floor of the warehouse office. He'd been shot twice, once in the chest, once in the head. And that's when I knew this wasn't self-defense. This was murder. But I was already there. I was already involved. And Derek was looking at me with those eyes, saying, "Please, I can't lose you. I need you." So I helped him. We spent 3 hours cleaning that warehouse, wiping down surfaces, mopping blood. I went to a hardware store at 4 a.m. and bought bleach, trash bags, a shovel. Derek wrapped Carlos's body in plastic. We put him in Derek's truck, drove 2 hours outside Houston to a wooded area, buried him. I was in shock the entire time. My hands were shaking. I kept thinking, this isn't real, this isn't happening. But it was happening, and I was doing it. We drove back to Houston. Derek burned his clothes. I burned mine. We showered, we scrubbed the truck. And then Derek said, if anyone asks, we were home together all night, watching movies. We never left. I said, okay. Just like that, okay. For 2 weeks, we acted normal. Carlos's wife reported him missing. Police came around asking questions. Derek said he hadn't seen Carlos in days. I backed him up. I went to the grocery store. I cooked dinner. I smiled. I pretended. But inside, I was dying. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Carlos on that warehouse floor. 3 weeks later, a hunter found Carlos's body. Police started investigating. Someone had seen Derek's truck near the warehouse that night. They came to our apartment, searched it, found traces of blood in Derek's truck that he'd missed, found my credit card receipt from the hardware store at 4 a.m. They arrested both of us. Derek was charged with first-degree murder. I was charged as an accessory after the fact, conspiracy to commit murder, and tampering with evidence. My lawyer said, if you testify against Derek, we can get you a deal, maybe 10 years. But I said no, because I still loved him. I thought loyalty meant protecting him. So we both went to trial. The prosecution laid it all out. Derek and Carlos argued about money. Derek lured him to the warehouse, shot him twice, called me. I helped hide the body. They showed pictures of Carlos's body, of the warehouse, of the burial site. Carlos's wife testified. She talked about her husband, her kids who no longer had a father. She looked at me and said, "You could have called 911. You could have saved him, but you chose Derek instead." She was right. Carlos was already dead when I got there, but maybe if I'd called the police immediately, if I'd refused to help, Derek would have gotten life and I'd be free. But I didn't. I chose Derek. The jury found Derek guilty of first-degree murder, life without parole. They found me guilty of accessory after the fact and conspiracy. The judge gave me 30 years. He said, "You had every opportunity to do the right thing. Instead, you chose to become an accomplice. You chose to help hide a murder. Carlos Ramirez's family will never see justice fully served because of you." I was 31 years old, and my life was over. I've been here for 17 years. I'm 48 now. I'm eligible for parole in 2033. That's 8 more years. I'll be 56 years old if they let me out. But there's no guarantee. The parole board might deny me, might make me serve the full 30. I could be 61 before I'm free. Derek and I broke up after the first year. He blamed me for getting caught, said if I'd been smarter, we wouldn't be here. That's when I realized he never loved me. He used me, and I let him. I think about Carlos every single day. He was 35 years old, father of 2 young boys. He was just trying to get his money back, money Derek owed him. And Derek killed him. And I helped hide it. Carlos's sons grew up without a father. His wife raised them alone. And part of that is my fault, because I chose Derek over doing the right thing. If you're in a relationship where you're losing yourself, where you're isolated from friends and family, where you feel like you exist only for that person, get out. If the person you love asks you to lie for them, that's a red flag. If they ask you to cover for them, that's a red flag. If they ask you to help them hide evidence, commit a crime, hurt someone, the answer is always no. Always. I thought loyalty meant standing by Derek no matter what. I thought love meant helping him even when he was wrong. But loyalty doesn't mean becoming a criminal. Love doesn't mean sacrificing your morals. Standing by your partner doesn't mean helping them commit murder. Here's what I wish someone had told me. If the person you love commits a crime and asks for your help, you call the police. You don't help them. You don't lie for them. You don't cover for them. Because if you do, you go to prison too. Derek isolated me on purpose. He cut me off from my support system so that when he needed me, I'd have no one else to turn to. No one to tell me this was wrong. He made me dependent on him financially, emotionally, mentally. So when he called me that night, I felt like I had no choice. But I did have a choice. I always had a choice. If your partner doesn't want you to have friends, doesn't want you to work, controls your money, makes you feel like you can't survive without them, isolates you from family, that's not love. That's control. And it's dangerous. Because when you have no one else, when you're completely dependent on one person, you'll do things you never thought you'd do, including helping them hide a murder. I lost 17 years of my life. I'll lose at least 13 more, maybe 30 total. I lost my 30s. I'll lose most of my 40s, maybe all of my 50s. I'll never have children, never get married for real, never have a career, never own a home. All because I confused loyalty with complicity. Derek is in a different prison, life without parole. He'll die there. And honestly, he deserves it. But me, I helped him after the fact, and I'm serving 30 years. Was it worth it? Was my loyalty to a man who used me worth 3 decades of my life? No, it wasn't. Nothing is worth this. If someone you love commits a crime, you are not obligated to help them. You are not a bad person for calling the police. You are not disloyal for refusing to be an accomplice. Real love doesn't ask you to become a criminal. Real partnership doesn't require you to sacrifice your freedom. If someone truly loves you, they won't put you in a position where you have to choose between them and your freedom. They won't ask you to risk your life for their mistakes. Carlos Ramirez was 35 years old. He had 2 sons, ages 8 and 6 at the time. They're 25 and 23 now. They grew up without their father. His wife, Maria, had to raise them alone. Work 2 jobs, struggle, grieve. And part of that is my fault. Because I helped Derek hide what he did. They call me Inmate 7234F. I'm 48 years old. I helped my boyfriend hide a murder because I thought that's what love meant. Derek's in prison for life. Carlos is dead. And I'm here for at least 13 more years. If the person you love asks you to help them commit or cover up a crime, the answer is no. Always no. Call the police. Walk away. Save yourself. Because I didn't. And I've paid for it with 17 years of my life. And I'll pay for it for at least 13 more. Don't confuse love with complicity. Don't sacrifice yourself for someone else's crime. Your loyalty shouldn't cost you your freedom.